Sorry.
Well, hello, welcome to your Team Solar call. I am not Kristen Foshi. Virginia is not Kristen Foshi. She is, I don't know, lounging around eating beignets or, I don't know, doing something fun, right? So welcome. I'm so glad that you took time out of your summer day to be on live because, you know, I always get nervous having to do this, and so it's nice to see friendly faces watching me back. So I was trying to figure out what I wanted to talk about today, and I had a bunch of different ideas. And then I watched Jennifer Meyer's mastermind call from yesterday. And it was so good. And it was long. It was, I won't say long, it was longer. It was an hour. So I tried to pick out the pieces that I thought would best help all of us because I had some aha moments. And I'm going to try to fit as much as I can into this call. But before I do that, I want to see, does anybody have any wins or wows or anything you want to share that happened in the past week? Anybody? No. Okay. It's the middle of the month and we still have a lot of the month left, like a lot of it left. And I know, at least for me personally, things have been a little bit slow as far as my business. But today's only what, the 17th, 18th? We still have like almost half the month left, guys. So there's plenty of time to get things done and to reach goals. So don't forget about that. People are still, you know, they're busy, but they're still reachable, and it's still pretty easy to. I was surprised. I was busy messaging some people about Charlotte this weekend, some of my customers, and I was actually shocked that they messaged me back. It was really bad on me to wait so long, but that's just how it kind of went. So what I would encourage everyone is to right now start inviting people to like Chicago and San Antonio if you haven't already. I know I at least have been super focused on trying to talk to team members to go, but really broaden, look at your customer base, see who's in those areas. I mean, I kind of went almost 3 hours out from Charlotte just to say, hey, this is going on and it's free. If you can make it, it would be awesome, that kind of thing. So, okay, so what I want to talk about, that leads right into what I'm going to talk about, which is events. Events are the fastest way for us to move our business forward. An event can be anything big, like going to Charlotte Summit to just meeting someone for coffee, for, you know, to chit chat. But there's 3 things, and this is again all from Jennifer Meyer's training yesterday, which I thought was so awesome. There's 3 parts, and they're all equally as important. And I think, like she mentioned, sometimes we put a little bit too much emphasis maybe on planning the event itself, and we forget to invite people maybe ahead of time, or we forget to invite intentionally, or we'll go over some of those things. But all 3 of these things are so super important. So 3 parts: first the pre-event, then the event itself, and then the post-event. And she said mindset and skills are critical to every piece. You have to go into it from a position of strength, meaning it's, you know, you're giving them a gift by inviting them to whatever event you're inviting them to. It's not, you don't need them to come. You're not being needy. You're trying to invite them and let them know, I have this opportunity that I want to share with you, no matter what the topic is about. And it can be anything from maybe the topic may not be something that you think they're directly interested in, but maybe there's someone else that's going to be there that you want them to be introduced to. Maybe they have their own business and it's a matter of just meeting more people. But think about what exactly it is that would make them want to be at that, or that would benefit them from going to that event. And that's what you want to hone in on when you're inviting them. So she said the invitation is so very important. It's a gateway skill, and if you don't get that piece down, it's going to be really challenging for you. And so, you know, I'm guilty of this as well, just saying, okay, here's some verbiage and invite people, but really and truly, if you need help, I shouldn't even say if you need help, ask your upline to help you with inviting people, because it's so critical to make it personal to that person. And if you just do a generic copy and paste and send it out to a bunch of people, they're going to kind of know that. They're going to read into that and know that you're just kind of checking a box by inviting them. So there's 2 pieces. It's the verbal piece, which is the, you know, either the words that you use, and also the visual. And she said, make sure your flyer is attractive. You don't want it to look like it's not that great. And I know for me, that's not one of my great skills as far as making pretty flyers. But the cool thing is that we have a lot of templates on thefreedomrevolution.com. I don't know, can I share my screen? Let me try. Okay. No, I think it's showing your screen, isn't it? Okay, so you'll bring it up for me. Can you hear me?
Sorry, there we go. I can't undo. Okay. So you can't show yours, but I can show mine. I don't know if it'll work right now, but we'll see. You can talk about it though. Okay. I'm trying to find it.
I'll talk about it if not. So you just go to the Freedom Revolution, and then you go to getting started, and then you scroll down, and there's a whole section on inviting, and then there's a link that you can click on to get to the flyers. And there's all kinds of beautiful flyers there. So that all you have to do is just type. You can add it to like WordSwag or Canva or anything, and just add the words on there, which I love, because honestly, that's what I spend most of the time doing. And I will tell you that, again, if it's not your forte to do a flyer, then just ask somebody on our team, because a lot of people can just whip it out in a few seconds. Me, it takes longer. I can still do it. It just takes me a lot more time.
And mine is obviously so.
Get started and then scroll down.
Sorry.
Okay, it's the invitation section, and then what's really cool is on the invitation section they have there's sample recordings there how to invite people to events. And then right there, the invitation image, you just click on that. Then you can see pretty flyers. And while that's coming up, so she said, that you're sharing something with them, whether it's the topic, whether it's the community, but you're sharing something with them. And then give it to the person. Why are you inviting them? Say that in the invite. I know I'm guilty of just, saying, hey, we're doing this. Why is that? You get out. There is a voice you want to say, this is what you've done, so I love for him. And then all you have to do is fill in the place. Don't make me hungry. It was that someone who had a track record of a high percentage of turnout on it. It's ratio. She invites people 3 weeks before. So I don't know if you want to just really I like plan ahead. I like to have things on my calendar, and so our friends are the same way. So I invite as early as possible. So, and especially with summer, you really want to do it early, and we'll talk about that in a minute too. Again, don't hope they'll attend. Be professional. Come from a position of strength. And then if they're not coming or they're not answering, you could always just say, hey, do you want me to keep you on my invite list? And then they can say, yeah, or maybe not. And then that's really great. I think for me, I love that because it kind of gives me a little bit of closure. Okay, I'm still not going to take them off my list, but I'm maybe not going to keep inviting them to every single event, if they tell me that they want to be taken off. And I will mention, Kristen, I remember she invited me to, I don't know how many different events for months, maybe 4 months or so, and I didn't go to any of them. Like, I didn't go. And the one that I finally went to was the one where my daughter and I were the only ones that were there. And so it ended up being a one-on-one. So you just never know what's going to happen if you just keep inviting people. Okay, so that's all pre-event stuff. And then for the event itself, you want to be organized. You want to know how it's going to flow, what you're going to say. They said you always want to have a story no matter what type of event it is, unless it's one of these other ones I'll talk about in a minute. But if it's a Juice Plus event, you want to always have a story, and you need to practice your story. You can't wing it. So, a lot of times we might have folks say, okay, go ahead and practice telling your story at this event. You don't want them to practice at the event, because what's going to happen is people are going to, and we saw this happening with some of our events in Del Rio, where the stories, there were so many stories and they were so long that people just kind of tended to start skipping the stories and not coming. And so you lose people when you do that. So you want to keep your story tight, 1 to 2 minutes. You want to have your heart in it, but you really want to keep it tight. And she said the Aussies do a great job of doing theirs in 30 seconds to 1 minute. I'm excited because tonight I'm actually attending a workshop that's being put on here. It's called Pitch Perfect. And the whole idea is that they're going to help us tighten our stories up to 30 seconds to a minute. So I'll be excited to share some of those nuggets with you guys. Shorter is better, of course. You want to have a good mix of facts and stories at the event. So in other words, you don't want to just have a bunch of people telling stories, but you also don't want to just have a bunch of facts. You want to have a little bit of a mix of both. You want to, if you can, have a theme or a topic. So it could be something like they mentioned children athletes, or brain health, or let me see, a skin event, healthy skin, but something that you could kind of latch onto, and then you can use that to wrap around when you're trying to invite people or figure out how what words you're going to use to invite them by using those themes. Brain health talk is another one that they talked about. Yoga and smoothies in the park, and then having the follow-up event be an actual smoothie workshop, which I love that idea. There was a lot of discussion about something called a Start Strong sort of series of events that I can't remember who it is that's doing it, but they had 3 events planned out for the summer, so they're already sort of advertising and putting the word out there so people can plan them out. And the first one was called Popsicles in the Park, and the second one was yoga, and then the third one was belly bugs. And so I know I'm kind of going over this fast, but they're just some fun ideas to throw out there. I can't remember if it was Peggy or Bree or who initially shared the making the shape pops in the little Ziploc bag things. I seriously love that idea, because I think when we did the smoothie pops, what we ran into is they melt super easy, right? And they're really messy. I was thinking that the Ziploc things would be so fun to do that as an event, because they're just easier to contain, and if they melt, it's okay. It's just like eating a smoothie. So I thought that was a really fun idea. And also, if you've never seen this book, this is one of the ones that they're doing. They're calling the Belly Bugs event, and it's a really cool book. I guess you can buy it through Juice Plus Promotions. I just got it on Amazon, but it's written by some people that are in the company, and I think it's good for adults too, but it really goes through and just does a great job of explaining your microbiome. And so I was thinking this is a really good event to do for the summer too, especially because it can be indoors or out. And I know Bree just did one in Colorado maybe a month or so ago at a library, and she said it went really well. I think that one would be a fun one too. You wouldn't necessarily have to even say sponsored by Juice Plus. You could just have this event and do that. And that was another thing that they talked about, was doing community outreach and sort of wrapping it under the Healthy Living Revolution banner, so that you don't really even mention Juice Plus. You just say it's part of a Healthy Living Revolution to get more people involved. And there was some discussion on, well, what's in it for us if we don't mention Juice Plus? Well, you're opening your network and you're meeting more people, and people are kind of seeing where your heart is. But what she really talked about was that you could reach out to people and get people to be involved in it with you. So maybe say you talk to a yoga teacher who normally would charge you X number of dollars to hold a yoga session for a Juice Plus event. You talk to them and say, hey, I would love for you to be a part of our Healthy Living Revolution event. Theoretically, they don't charge you because they're going to be hopefully getting clients. They're going to be getting that exposure, and you're basically giving them a gift by allowing them an opportunity of being involved in that. And then, she mentioned that don't worry if you do it and one person shows up, because the whole point is momentum, and you just do it again and again. I remember when we first started doing our salad parties, we had like 1 or 2 people show up, and then we're having 15, and then we're having 30. So just the more you do it, more people will show up. The other one that they talked about that I really loved the idea of was doing events around the HLR, the Healthy Living Revolution live videos. So if you go to the Healthy Living Revolution page and pull up those videos, Jennifer Myers was talking about that, because they can get the numbers on these things, that 10,000 people have watched the asthma one, the one on asthma and allergies. 30,000 people have watched the keto one, the keto versus shred, I think is what it's called, something like that. So in other words, people are like watching these videos. And so she just said, you could have an event where you are just teaching, letting people watch the video, and then maybe have a story afterwards, depending on whether or not there's a story already embedded in the video. And I thought, that's a really great idea, because it kind of takes a lot of the pressure off of you to have to really say too awful much. She mentioned another person, did I say this already? The skin event, where I think Jennifer did this one, where she had a friend that has a skincare line, and she came in and talked about her skincare products. And then she played the Dr. Mitra Ray video that's 3 minutes. And then she talked about Juice Plus afterwards. I don't know that we really want to get into a big habit of having other products, but at the same time, I really like the idea of just having a healthy skin event and then having that video. She mentioned someone else that had just, they had 6 people come to an event and they played the Bridge the Gap video, and they had 4 orders out of it. So I'm just saying all this to say you can throw together an event and really not have to think too awful much about it, because all the information is already there for you. And then the last one was, she said Jennifer's gotten lots of feedback that a lot of people outside our team, it was her own products. Okay, yeah, that's right. That there's, if you go on the Healthy Living Revolution, the resources page, there's a 16-minute video that Jennifer Myers has done that goes through the Healthy Living Revolution slides. And she says she's taught tons of people come up to her conference and say how that's what they use at their events, and people really, really love it. Okay, I'm running out of time, so I'm going to quick. And you always want to have something to invite to after your event. So you have this event, you always want to have something in mind to invite them to. And then that way they know how they feel, they know that they had a good time, and they can go ahead and pencil it into their calendar for the next one and bring some friends. And then she also talked about put the event on the calendar, even if you don't have the details. You could just do like a little card that save the date, or just tell them save the date for this event. And then you can figure out the details later, because then that gives you an excuse to check back in with them and just kind of remind them about the event when you're telling them where exactly it's going to be. Okay, and then the third part is following up. It just shows that we're professionals, and it's integral to what we do. We always say that the fortune is in the follow-up, but you really want to make sure that you do it fast. You don't want to let days, weeks go by, maybe a day or so, but you really want to, if you weren't able to close or get them to sign up at the event, you really want to try to see, hey, can we meet for coffee so I can talk to you about any questions that you had after the presentation, or address any concerns or whatever, or just ask to meet with them, just to so that it'll come up naturally. The more time that goes by, the more they'll forget. It'll go out of their mind, and they'll forget how they felt at the event. They'll forget why they were excited about Juice Plus. If you haven't watched Leslie Chermak's video on closing, watch it for sure. And that's where she really does talk about how she's able to close so many orders and reps at the event itself. And then for the people that weren't at the event, you want to follow up with them and let them know that you missed them and how much fun you had. And you want to kind of like instill some of that FOMO in them, that the fear of missing out, that, oh my gosh, I want to be there at the next one. and let them know what that next one is. And then the biggest thing is get organized now, get the events on the calendar for the rest of the summer so that you can block that time. And for me, it's always a relief to just get it something on the calendar and then kind of put that to the side and then focus on something else. If I don't, if I'm always thinking, oh, I need to do that, then it just kind of clutters up my brain and my thinking and all of that. So block that time, get the events on the calendar. That way you can let your friends know about them and then enjoy the summer. And that's everything that I had on that. Any questions? Does anybody have any tips on how you do follow-up?
I just message them and say, hey, what'd you think? That's all. Just try to keep it like as a conversation would go regularly, like, because I don't like to be, oh, hey. Sometimes I do say, hey, I'm working my business today, and I know that you've expressed whatever interest. I just wanted to make sure that I was doing my job in following up with you. So I think that has helped in the past for me too.
Yeah, I like that a lot. Okay. Well, I want to thank everybody for hopping on today, and I want to make sure that we're on nice and early for the next call because it's going to be really exciting.